Good morning, ladies. I'm in here alone. It's only the second week of our group, so I'm still all by myself. Hopefully, you guys will start joining me at some point for Meal Planning Monday. To start off, I thought I might explain a little bit about why I think meal planning is important, and I'll tell you how I go about it. So, the first thing is, I like to keep my pantry pretty well stocked. Now, I don't always do a great job with this, but I'm getting better. In general, there are certain things that I like to keep on hand. I do this so that if I'm having a really crazy week and I'm just not able to think ahead and plan ahead or prep ahead, that I know that there are some things in my pantry that my husband and my son will eat. I say my husband and my son because I'm pickier about what I eat than they are. So I have to make sure I have stuff on hand, for those crazy times. I like to keep stuff in my pantry like regular pasta, whole grain pasta. I actually eat like a black bean pasta. I keep that kind of stuff on hand. Jarred sauces. You don't always have time to make your own spaghetti sauce or whatever. So jarred sauces, I see nothing wrong with jarred products as long as you read the labels and there's nothing in it that you don't want, like MSG or too much sugar or high fructose corn syrup or whatever. Just read your labels. Do things to make your life easier. I also keep little snack foods and stuff like that my son can eat. Things like goldfish crackers. We are not gluten-free in my house, although some people are. I keep applesauce packs, sometimes big jars of applesauce too. What else do I keep? Seltzer water. Of all the things, I always have seltzer water. I keep extra packs of the almond milk that you don't have to refrigerate. In case I don't get to the store or we lose power or something, I always have a couple of those containers of the almond milk you don't have to refrigerate. What else do I have in that? Things like steel cut oats, dried beans. My husband really likes Cheerios, so I almost always have plain yellow box Cheerios. I usually try to have some kind of high fiber cereal on hand too. I don't eat much cereal, but when I do, I want it to be a really good one. So like I'll have some of that Kashi. I think the one I like is Kashi Cinnamon Crunch, or I actually like, this is sitting right here. I actually like this no sugar added Alpen type stuff. And there is no shame in feeding your family cereal. If you are just sick or busy and unable to think ahead and plan ahead, if you keep this kind of stuff, cereals and things in your pantry, then you don't have to feel guilty. Okay? So stock your pantry. If you're into canned soups and that kind of stuff, put some canned soup in there. Whatever your family is going to eat that makes your life easier and so that you don't have to think so hard when you're having a rough night or a rough week. Okay, so going past the pantry organization and the pantry stocking stuff, I start each week meal planning usually on Thursday for the next week, for the following week. I do that because that's the day all the sales circulars come out. And it's also a day of the week when I have an evening free. After I meet with Coaching Corner, I'm free in the evening, so I can do my meal planning. First thing I do is I check through my chest freezer to see if I have any like chicken, pork, beef, whatever, like meat that I would like to use. I don't like to keep stuff for months. I'm weird about food safety. So I check my freezer. If there's meat in there that I want to use, that I'm like, oh, I need a ground beef recipe. Okay. Or a ground turkey recipe. All right. Next thing I do is I go on Pinterest, or you don't even have to do Pinterest. You can totally Google like ground beef recipes or something like that. I like to go on Pinterest. I look for recipes. I try to vary it, our protein source. So if I have ground beef that I want to use, then I'm going to make something else that week that is maybe turkey or chicken. Or if the peanut gallery doesn't complain, I'll go meat free. That doesn't happen often because they complain. We do eat pork now and again. We are not big ham eaters, but If you do eat ham, I have noticed really good prices on ham, like even whole hams, at our local grocery store. So the whole thing here is to look at what you have and then try to decide what way you're going to use it. If you don't want anything that's in your house, okay, that's great. If it fits into your budget, then start checking out the store circulars. They usually post them online. And then if you want to, you can get like a local newspaper, and they usually have whatever your local grocery chains are. They usually tell you what the specials are that week. That's a really good place to find like fish. Like I like to have wild salmon once in a while at home. So I always buy the wild salmon on the weeks when the grocery circular tells me it's on special. Same thing with like shellfish, or even if just a whitefish, like a cod, look for the sales and specials. Once you've decided, I start with protein. Once you've decided, I'm using this from my freezer or I'm buying this from the sales circular, decide how many meals you're making. I personally, I don't cook more than 2 or 3 times a week. I don't. I usually cook Sunday, Tuesday, and if I have to, Wednesday or Thursday. And that's it. And my family knows that whatever 2 or 3 meals are laying around, they have to mix and match and eat them for dinner. If they don't like it, I know it sounds insensitive, but I don't really care. I plan for no more than 2 or 3 meals a week. That's what I do. You pick your protein, go on Pinterest, like I said. Go on Pinterest. You can Google things. You can use meal planning services. Sometimes I use emails. I have an ongoing agreement with them. I paid like months ago for it. And so they send me a meal plan every week. Sometimes one of the meal plans they send me, one of the meals might fit in with something I already have. So then I take one of those. In any case, once I've chosen my 3 meals, I sit down and I make a list. I actually have a really cool app that I'm going to share with all of you guys. I'm sort of testing it out for the app developer right now. It's called Picnic. I'm allowed to say that. Picniic. And Picnic allows me to choose recipes and save them. And then I also can make a grocery list. I buy some things at the regular grocery store, and I buy some things in bulk at like BJ's. We don't have a Costco here. We have a Sam's, but I prefer BJ's. So start making a list. If you have some ground beef, but you need some chicken goes on the list. If your chicken recipe requires a bunch of canned diced tomatoes, you put canned diced tomatoes on the list. Use your recipes to create your list. If you have to, bookmark them in your browser if you're doing it all online. If you're doing it with a binder, I actually have a recipe binder. If you're doing it that way, pull out the recipes that you're going to use and maybe stick them to a bulletin board or to your fridge or something. But really write down the things you need for your recipes that week, your dinner meals. After you have all that stuff on a list, it's really easy to go in and fill like, I need some breakfast foods. What does my family eat? Cereal, frozen waffles, whatever your family eats, go and fill that in. If you drink milk, you put milk. If you're eggs, put eggs, egg whites. Fill in the stuff you buy almost every week after you get those main meals. I don't recommend eating lunch out every day. I know people that do that. So if you're at work and you need to eat, the best case scenario would be that you plan a few lunches ahead or eat leftovers. If you need to pack lunch food, I guarantee it will save you money. Like, don't go out to eat every day. When you're making this list, after you fill in your breakfast and the items you buy every single week, fill in anything you need for lunch. Snack foods, fill in anything you need for snack foods. Just make a list. I use an app. These days, I think a lot of people do use an app. You can write it on paper if that works for you. I still sometimes, if I'm going back and forth and I have 2 different apps open and I'm having trouble on my phone, I still sometimes write stuff down. There's no harm in doing that. So, takeaway here. Think ahead. Read your circulars. Go through your pantry. If your pantry isn't stocked, start working on stock in the pantry. You can just buy like 1 thing a week. Just 1 extra little thing a week. Pay attention to your budget. If you If you're really trying to cut back, then use the stuff that's in your house. If you have to go meatless once in a while, that's okay too. Choose how many times a week. Determine how many times a week you must cook. Then choose your meals. You can start with protein like I do. Oh, I'm going to have beef one night. I'm going to have chicken one night. I'm going to have fish one night. Okay, so there's part of your list already. Find recipes anywhere you wish. Find recipes. Fill in what goes with the salmon, what you need to make the chicken dish. Fill it all in on your list. Then add in breakfast foods, snack foods, lunch foods, and that's stuff that you buy all the time. We all have like pantry staples. We all have things that our family just devours. Like my family has a thing about air pop popcorn. I always have to buy air pop popcorn and peanut oil and almond milk. Yeah, and almond milk. Really, and salad. I eat salad every day of the week. So salad is on my list all the time, no matter what. Salad is on my list. We all have those things. So make your life easy. Choose to cook a few times a week. Choose to cook 5 days a week. But if you do it ahead and you plan it out, and then you join me in here for Meal Planning Monday, we can plan out your meals. We can prep the meals. And that way you won't have to think so hard on Tuesday night when you get home from work. I guess that's all I have to say about meal planning for today. I'm currently in my Instant Pot. I'm still learning about the Instant Pot, which, by the way, is like a godsend. I am cooking my husband his hard-boiled eggs in the Instant Pot. That's one of those things I buy every week because he likes to snack. He's like a grazer. He eats constantly. Like every hour or two, he's sticking something in his mouth. So I make him hard-boiled eggs. And I buy him baby carrots too. You know, got to keep the husband fed. Don't want him to wither away to nothing. Have a fabulous day. I will post this in the group. And that's like in a nutshell my philosophy on meal planning. Keep it simple. Cook as little as you have to. Plan ahead. Prep ahead. Don't think. Don't think too hard about it. That's it. Pretty simple. Oh, I thought I stopped it.